Hey guys, so I have been asked to make a video to show you how in Sew What Pro to merge designs from multiple different designs to create one. So I'm going to do this the best I can, and then I will post this video in YouTube so you guys can watch it, and don't hesitate to message me if you have any questions. So first we're going to pull up Sew What Pro and go under File. We're going to open. I always start with the main part of my design. So I'm going to go and open my numbers because we are going to make a design that says I'm Toodles with the number 2 and a mini head. So I have all of my designs separated into folders, and I'm just going to go down here, Applique Images, and then I have Applique Fonts. Look for birthday numbers. So I'm going to pick about the 4-inch mark number, and she's 2. So there is our 2 design. Okay. So then I'm just going to click open. All right. And that brings my number 2 into my frame. Now it's automatically going to put it in a 4x4 frame, but this is going to go on a size 2 shirt. So I'm going to go up here and I'm going to change my frame size to 5x7 frame so that I can get more on the design, and I might have to shrink this too a little bit, but we can work on that a little bit later. So I hover over this. This is our adjust hoop size button in Sew What Pro. I'm going to click there. I'm going to go down to the 7.09 by 5.12 Baby Lock Large. That is the 5x7 frame. Click that and hit OK. So it automatically changes my frame size. So I'm going to drag my 2 over here just to kind of get it out of the way. The next step is I'm going to merge in the Minnie Mouse head design. So I go up to File, and instead of open, I'm going to merge, because if I opened up another file, it would delete the 2 that's on here, and you don't want that to happen. So we're going to merge 2 designs. So I'm going to go merge, and it brings up my list of files. So I'm going to go back to Applique Images, and I'm going to go to I don't even know where I have her head, but let's look and see. Probably under Girls, and then Minnie. Let's just see what I've got. So there's a mini head with a bow. I'm going to choose the 3x3 design, so that way we can make sure that it fits really, really well on here. We can always adjust the size once I do it. So I click on the 3x3 design and I hit open. So that brings in my mini head. Okay, so they're merged right there, but then I've still got to add the fonts. So then I'm going to go over to my File tab, okay, and going to merge more. So now I'm going to merge the font that says I'm Toodles. So I'm going to go under Downloads. I'm going to go under PES fonts. The quote Disney font is actually called Walt. So I'm going to scroll all the way down here to Walt, and I am going to bring in all of my letters. And I saw a neat trick that I didn't even know about. Now that I've brought that in, I can hit this button right up there, and it brings in all my letters over here to the side, so I don't have to keep going back and forth. So, I don't want to do that. Hit back. Apologize. Okay, let's see. All right, so there's my font. So now I'm going to do I'm back. So this is different. I don't like this. So just kidding. We're going to go back to the way I normally do it. So I'm going to merge each one. So open, merge, and then since I know I'm in the same size font, I'm not sure what all those sizes were over here to the side. I'm not sure what sizes those are. It doesn't tell me, but when I go into my merge right here, it does tell me that they're 1 inch. So I'm going to stick with this. That way I know I'm getting the appropriate size. So there's the M for I'm. And then we're going to just continue to merge all of our letters. If you guys hear my dogs barking, I apologize. This is the monotonous way, but the other way doesn't give me the size listing beside it. So I don't know what I'm actually inserting in, and then I don't want it to not match. So this is this surefire way to make sure I get the exact size that I need. All right, so now that we have everything merged in, I can start arranging the way that I want it to look and lining everything up and making sure that size-wise it fits right. So I'm probably going to shrink down this 2 a little bit because it's quite large in comparison to the rest. So I click on the design, and you see that it's just the 2 is highlighted in that box. I'm going to go up to this icon right here that says resize. Okay, and I'm going to click resize. Now, the rule of thumb is generally that you don't resize it more than 20% one way or the other. So that means I can take it down to 80% because it's set at 100. I can take it down to 80%, or I can go up to 120%. Right now, I'm going to take it down to probably 90. I can always reverse that if I want to, or I can take it down an additional amount if I need to. But I just want to do a little bit at a time to see what it looks like and make sure I get the size that I want. So I'm typing in 90, and then you hit OK. And then I'm also going to adjust that size, as the size of the mini head as well. Wrong way. So hit the hoop size by accident. There we go. And do 90. Okay. And then now I want to overlap that a little bit. So I'm just going to put the mini head kind of where I want it. I'm going to bring it up a little bit. I'm not going to make it so like cookie cutter where it's like matching on the bottom. So I think that's kind of how my customer wanted it. So I hit Control and click both of them. That way I can move these designs at one time. And then I'm going to center my black marks up here and here to make sure that we're in the middle of the page, okay? Or the middle of the frame. Now for the words. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit on my screen and make sure that all of these are equal and straight on the grid marks to make sure that we have a straight word, because nobody wants crooked letters. So I'm going to do that really fast, move them up if I need to. Had to zoom in on my screen a little bit. Okay, now I'm going to go back out. I'm going to click on Control and then click on each letter to group them together. And that way, because that's my one thing, I'm lining them up in the center. And what I think I'm gonna do is leave it just like that. Now, with words, I typically like to beef up the pull compensation and density. That just means I like to make the font a little bit thicker, because I feel like sometimes when they stitch out, they're a little less concentrated or fuller than I want them to look. So I typically do this on every single time I do a word. So I've highlighted all of my letters, and I'm going to go up to this box right here, and it says adjust density. Okay, it's automatically set at 1.0. I always take this up to 1.1. Okay, and then I always take this bottom number up to 6. Now watch that when I hit OK, watch the difference in the thickness of the letters. okay? It just makes them stand out a lot more. Now, sometimes if you feel like that overdid it, like it looks too thick, you can always hit your back button, just like this, okay? And undoes what you did. I can go back and I can hit Control and click on every letter again, and I can play with that. So maybe I don't want to do 1.1, which is what I typically do. So let's try like 1.8 and 5. So it's important that you remember for every one that you go up here, you're going to go up one here. So it goes up by 0.02, but that, I mean, one click. So 0.08 would be 5 here, if that makes sense. So I feel like that looks a lot better. The W is not as fuzzy. So that's what I'm going to leave it as. I also like to beef up the actual satin stitch. Now I wouldn't highlight the design. I wouldn't highlight the design and beef up everything, because then it's going to beef up your placement and your tack down. So this is where you're going to need to go over to your stitches right here on the right side. Okay, so if I click on each individual thing, it's going to tell me what step that is. So this is the placement stitch for the 2, right? This is the tack down stitch for the 2, and this is the satin stitch for the 2. This is the one that I want to beef up. So I'm going to click on that one, and then I'm going to go back up here to my adjustment for the density and pull compensation button, and I will go up to 0.1 like I did before, and 6, and watch the difference in the 2. It's a lot thicker, okay? And it just looks a lot crisper and cleaner. I'm going to do the same thing. Actually, I'm not. I'm going to leave the mini head and the bow alone because they look pretty thick to begin with, okay? So because we are merging designs, the steps of the designs are going to be a little bit different than what they would be if this was a design that you bought. If you bought this design from somewhere else, instead of creating your own design by piecing multiple designs together, then it wouldn't have a satin stitch. If you see that red satin stitch underneath the mini head, or there wouldn't be a satin stitch back here underneath the mini ear. But because we've merged it, there's separate designs, and there's no way that I can take out the satin stitches that are underneath the mini applique. So we want to keep these steps in order. So what it's going to do, it's going to do the placement stitch for the 2, the tack down for the 2, and then it's going to satin stitch the 2. Then it's going to do the placement stitch for the Mickey head. Then it's going to do the tack down stitch for the Mickey head. Then it's going to placement stitch for the bow, tack down for the bow. Then we're going to do a satin stitch over the Mickey head, and then a satin stitch over the bow. But don't worry, there will be fabric over top, you know, where the Mickey head is, so you won't see the satin stitch of the 2 that's being covered up, and it won't look bulky or anything like that. There's no way to go change that in the system because they're different designs merged together, if that makes sense. Another thing that I like to do, because some of you guys may be using a single needle machine versus a multi-needle machine, and this is lots of steps, right? To if you're using a single needle, it's going to cut your thread and stop every single time. So you can take this design and you can merge and join your thread colors. So it takes it down from 19, this is 19 steps. It's going to take it down to 10 steps. It's going to merge all of these blue steps together, which is all of the words, okay? So to show you how to do that, I'm going to go up to Edit. I'm going to join threads. And this box pops up. You're going to join all adjacent threads of the same color. You click that box and you hit OK, and watch what happens to our steps over here. It took it down to 1 step. So when you click on that step, you're going to see that the whole wording is highlighted together. That means it's 1 step instead of each individual letter. Okay, one thing you want to make sure when you do this, and most design take care of this for you so that you don't accidentally merge a placement and a tack down, but you want to make sure that your placement, your tack down, and your satin aren't the same color side by side. Because if it is, then the machine, when you do that, it will automatically group those colors together and won't stop in between those steps. It's a simple thing that if that was the case, you click on your, this is your your placement for your two and your tack down for your two, if they were the same color, you would just click on one of them, go down here, look, and you just change the color. It doesn't matter which color you change it to because you're going to assign the colors on the machine, but it just changes it in the system so that they're not merged together. You would, of course, do that before you join the threads. So now we've gotten everything organized and merged in our design, and we can go and save it. I save everything to a flash drive, and then I transfer it over to my computer. So you just click Save As, and you would choose your flash drive, which I don't have in the computer right now, but I would choose my flash drive, and then I would hit Save and transfer it over to my computer. Over to my machine. On the machine is where I would set the stitches to a certain color. I don't worry about doing that in the software. If you have any questions, please comment on the video or email me. I will put a link to my email in the video as well. All right, thanks. Hope this helped.